prarabdha. Okay. In Varnashram, every person has a guna and karma. That is based on your prarabdha. Prarabdha karma. Is clear? Okay. So because your prarabdha is to have a certain guna and certain karma, then you are classified in a certain varna and certain ashrama. Okay. Then you have to operate there only because that's your prarabdha. You cannot operate elsewhere. Is it clear? Is it clear? No. This is person A. Okay. He has guna and karma of a brahmana. That is his prarabdha. We all understand prarabdha, right?
Yes.
Prarabdha karma. Okay. According to his prarabdha, he is supposed to be a brahmana. Okay. In Vedic Varnashram, he can only operate here. He cannot come to he cannot come anywhere else. He has to only operate here. This is Vedic Varnashram. Like somebody else has the guna and karma of Kshatriya. He has to only operate here. He cannot go here, he cannot come here, he cannot come here. He has to only operate here. Because his prarabdha is like that. Is clear?
Yes.
This is Vedic Varnashram. Is clear?
Yes.
Okay. But in Daivi Varnashram, what happens? When you practice Krishna consciousness, what happens? Your prarabdha is
Cut.
destroyed.
Yes.
Because your prarabdha is destroyed, then for Krishna service, you can operate anywhere. You understand? It's a very simple thing. Because your prarabdha is no longer applicable, then for the sake of Krishna service, this fellow can come and operate here also.
But prarabdha is the last that goes, no? Prarabdha bija, the last thing that goes is prarabdha.
Yeah, but the moment you start Krishna consciousness, your prarabdha is already altered. Because Krishna is already interfering.
Even prarabdha.
Yeah.
Is this when they say like a Shudra in Krishna consciousness can be higher than other positions?
Like a Brahmana, and you can be anywhere and you can go back home back to Godhead.
I think that was the point. It said something like being a Shudra and you could return. No,
You can be anywhere and you can go back home back to Godhead because your prarabdha is destroyed. So it's whatever level you are in that level you are simply practicing pure devotional service. So these two things. One is that you can operate across levels, this is number one. Number two, you can be anywhere and you can go back home back to Godhead. In a Vedic Varnashram, this fellow has to perfect his life as Shudra, then he will become Vaishya. Then he has to perfect his life as Vaishya, then he will become Kshatriya. He has to perfect his life as Kshatriya, then he will become Brahmana. Then after that, as a perfect Brahmana, first he will be Grahastha, then he will become, in the next, when he becomes perfect Brahmana Grahastha, then he will become perfect Brahmana Sannyasi. Then he can go to Brahmana Sannyasi and then he will become perfect Brahmana Sannyasi. When he becomes perfect Brahmana Sannyasi, then he can think of Krishna consciousness.
This happens in the same life?
No. Every time. The 100 lifetimes as a perfect Shudra makes one qualified to become imperfect Vaishya. 100 lifetime as perfect Vaishya makes one qualified to become imperfect Kshatriya. 100 lifetime of perfect Kshatriya makes one qualified to become imperfect Brahmana. 100 lifetime of perfect Brahmana makes one perfect Brahmana Grahastha. Then from perfect Brahmana Grahastha, he will become imperfect Brahmana Sannyasi. Then he has to become perfect Brahmana Sannyasi. Millions of lifetimes it will take.
I remember the point was that Vaishya or Sudra engaged in Krishna consciousness can be higher than a Brahmana.
Yeah. In case of Krishna consciousness, these things just become a convenient designation to operate. That's it.
Then it's not possible for him to complete the process.
It will take long time.
Because 100, how long a person will live? Will finish 100 years.
No, I'm saying 100 lifetime, not 100 years.
That's right.
Yeah, something like that.
I have a question, Prabhuji, with practicing Krishna consciousness, do our ashramas change? I mean, this.
No, varnas become
Varnas, do they change?
ashram. See, ashram is
Sorry, not
different.
ashram. This varna, do they change with Krishna conscious practice?
See, everybody is supposed to come to mode of goodness.
Yeah.
In varnashram, see, in Devi varnashram, okay. Now, in a traditional varnashram, okay, this fellow is in ignorance, okay. This fellow is in passion plus ignorance, okay. This fellow is goodness plus passion. This fellow is in goodness. This is in Vedic varnashram. Brahmana is predominantly in goodness. Kshatriya is mix of goodness and passion. And Vaishya is passion and ignorance. And Shudra is predominantly ignorance. But when it comes to Devi varnashram, everybody is supposed to be in goodness.
Krishna consciousness is?
Everybody is supposed to be in goodness. So he may act like a Shudra, but he is in mode of goodness. He may act like a Vaishya, but he is in mode of goodness. He may act like a Kshatriya, but he is in mode of goodness. He may act like a Brahmana, but he is in mode of goodness. This is Devi varnashram. It's not that in Devi varnashram a Shudra is in ignorance. Everybody is supposed to be in mode of goodness in Devi varnashram. Is clear?
But the job is in mode of ignorance. He's in touch in the mode of ignorance.
No, he is not in touch with mode of ignorance. He may be doing job which is related to Shudra's job. But because that is done for Krishna's pleasure, it is no longer mode of ignorance. So for example, if this guy may be assigned to clean the toilets in the temple.
No, I'm talking engineering job.
Okay, you want to take engineering job. Like suppose somebody is, is a civil engineer who is building a huge temple.
Burj Dubai.
Huh?
Burj Dubai.
So I'm saying that every job can be utilized in Krishna service. Okay. So let us say somebody is doing Burj Dubai.
Yes, like
Okay.
a devotee.
Like a devotee. But he is a devotee. Okay. Why he is there? Because his spiritual master has told him that be there for the sake of preaching. Okay. He has no interest in staying there. Okay.
Spiritual master says like.
But his spiritual master is telling him, you have to stay in this country. You find, you continue your job. Don't leave your job. You stay in this country because preaching mission is very important. You have to stay in this country and preach. Then his job becomes his devotional service. You understand? I know many devotees who are staying in Middle East because it is their spiritual master's order to stay. They don't have any interest in staying there.
Spiritual masters tell, please stay here.
They are telling, spiritual master is telling you, please stay here because if you go away then preaching will suffer. So you just stay. So they are actually sticking in their job, they are doing their job. They don't have any need, they made enough money, they don't have any need for money. They are sticking in their job, they are doing their job because they have to be there for preaching. So in this case, then the job becomes devotional service. So that's why if this is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's not so much about what you are doing, it's about with what consciousness you are acting. Like I may live in Dham, okay? But if my consciousness is not all right, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that the guy whose consciousness is all right or not all right, he is actually living on the cover of Maya above the Dham. He is not living in Dham. So the Dham is covered by a layer of Maya. So the fellow who consciousness is not alright, he is actually living on that above that cover of Maya. He is not living in the Dham. But somebody may not be living in the Dham physically, but he is always thinking about the Dham. He is actually living in Dham. Like somebody may not be living physically in Mayapur, they may be living in America, but every day they are thinking about Mayapur, every day the heart is Mayapur, they are seeing Mangalati Mayapur, they are always thinking, oh, why I am in this country, why I am not able to live in Mayapur. They actually think about Mayapur. They are actually Dhamvasi because they are living in Dham. But somebody is living in Dham and he is thinking that, okay, what is the next sense gratification I can do? That fellow is not living in Dham. He is only simply living on the cover of Maya outside the Dham. Anyway, it's clear? Devi Varnashram and traditional Varnashram.
Bro, can you give reference?
Huh?
Reference of you explain all this. Someone ask the expert.
This Devi Varnashram thing. Yeah, it is there in Prabhupada's purports. It's just an assembly of various things Prabhupada says in different purports.
100, Vedic Varnashram.
Oh, that 100 lifetime. This I heard from Vidwan Goranga. I can ask him for reference. I can ask him for reference. Okay, please read.
The whole administrative system is arranged for the pure purpose of going back home, back to Godhead. Brahma is the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Manu is the representative of the Brahma. Every king therefore must.
Got mixed up.
Must therefore must know that is a representative is administrations. Same up Same.
What verse we are in? We finished this verse. Yes, but, this is what we saw. Next one. Okay. Yeah.
Every king therefore must know that his responsibility in the administration is not merely to exit taxes from the citizen, but to see personally that the citizens under him are being trained in Vishnu worship. Everyone must be educated in Vishnu worship and engage in the devotional service of Rishikesa, the owner of the senses. The conditioned soul means not to satisfy their mental senses, but to satisfy the senses of Rishikesh, the Supreme Personal Godhead. That is the purpose of the complete administrative system. One who knows that secret, as disclosed here in the visions of the Brahma, is the perfect administrative aid. One who does not know this is a true battle administrator by training the citizen in the devotional service of the Lord. The head of the state can be free in his responsibility, otherwise he will be fall into the onerous duty and to him, and those be punished by the supreme authority. There is no other alternative in the discharge of an administrative duty.
So this is also applicable to us because we are actually managing this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or we are actually preaching this or running this Society for Krishna Consciousness for the same purpose, that we are actually doing it so that we can actually make devotees. So if you are not sincerely trying to produce devotees or make devotees who are interested in devotional service, then all our administration simply becomes show bottle administration. So that's our responsibility. And if we don't fulfill that responsibility, then we also become punishable. Okay, please read.
Brahma knows how to satisfy the Lord, and similarly, persons engaged in the line of Brahma's plan of activities also know how to satisfy the Lord. The Lord is satisfied by the process of devotional service, consisting of the ninefold process of hearing, chanting, etc. It is in one's own self-interest to execute prescribed devotional service, and anyone who neglects this process neglects his own self-interest.
According to Jiva Goswami, the topics delineated here are of different millenniums. The present topic are of the Shweta Varaha millennium, and topics regarding the Chakshusha millennium will also be discussed in this chapter.
Yeah, so
That's why
this is the mix-up which he did, that he got mixed up with the two Varahas. That okay.
The devotee of the Lord, the devotees of the Lord who are all confident servitors are sometimes perplexed in the discharge of their respective duties, but they are never discouraged. They have full faith in the Lord, and He paves the way for the smooth progress of the devotee's duty.
Yeah, so we can see this happening all the time in Prabhupada's life, that he had different challenges. First he was trying to go to America, and he could not go to America because Sumati Maharaj, she was against him going to America. She was saying, oh, you're such an old man, what will you do by going to America? So somehow or other he had to convince her to get a ticket. Then when he got the ticket, then he got heart attack on the way. Then when he went there, nothing was working out. So there are so many impediments which keeps coming in Prabhupada's life. But because Prabhupada is so intent on pleasing Krishna and executing the order of the spiritual master, then we can see that Krishna actually handsomely rewards him. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that sometimes a devotee may be perturbed, but in the end, Krishna actually makes every arrangement so that the devotee can perform his devotional service very nicely.
Prabhu, in 23,
Yeah.
it is said it appears the purport. It appears that great hills and mountains have their roaring power because they are also living entities. Mountains also roar like this. The Prabhupada is saying they are also living entities. Not
No, previously mountains used to fly, so many things they used to do. But now in Kali Yuga, they are all stuck in one place. They are not flying. Indra cut all their wings. So we can say mountains are roaring because sometimes you stand and shout at a mountain, then mountain shouts back at you.
echo, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, science.
But how the echo is formed? We are saying the scientific process, it is echo. But the sound is replying back now from the mountain.
So the volume of the sound vibrated is in proportion to the size of the material body.
Yeah, correct, that's correct. Like if an ant is shouting, you cannot hear. But if an elephant is shouting, you can very nicely hear. Or if a lion is roaring, we can very nicely hear. So the body, when it is small, then you can't hear the sound so much. When the birds are squeaking, they are only squeaking. Quing, 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 quing. So always the connection is there between body size and the voice. Like a child is only squeaking. When the child becomes a young man, then he can shout also. Okay? Yes, please.
This happened at the time of creation, the earth went into the water.
Yeah, at the time of when Manu appeared, at the time earth was submerged in water.
Okay, only the earth.
Yeah, this is Swambhu Manu's time. That's why Jiva Goswami is saying that there are two appearances of Varahadev. One during Swambhu Manu's time, and then the other one during Chakshusha Manu's time. The actual fight between Varahadev and Hiranyaksha happened in the Chakshusha Manu time.
That is Varahakalpa.
That is, see, this kalpas also again, everybody has some idea about what is what kalpa, so I don't get so much into this. But the point is that there are two appearances of Varahadev. Okay. So, first appearance of Varahadev is during Swambhu Manu's time. Okay. So, that appearance is what is being described now. At that time, there was no fighting with Hiranyaksha. Only the earth was submerged, the Lord actually put the earth upwards for float. Then later Hiranyaksha came and he stole the earth and then he submerged it again. And that is in Chakshusha millennium. The Lord came as Varaha. That time he fought with Hiranyaksha. So that is separately being described. But in this chapter, Maitreya was supposed to only describe about the Varaha appearance in the Swayambhuva time. But because he became so ecstatic that he mixed up this Varaha and that Varaha, and then he spoke about both the Varaha. But later he will describe about that Varaha separately. There's a whole chapter which actually, 2 chapters which describes Varaha's fighting with Hiranyaksha and all those things.
Prabhuji, so these planets are held by air or something like.
Yes.
So when he created, was there an imbalance in that so that Earth fell down? How to understand why it fell down?
I don't know. It just was inside. There is no explanation why it was inside. At least in Bhagavatam there is no explanation why it was inside.
He wanted to create it as before.
Yeah.
And the Lord blessed also.
Correct.
So it was Krishna's plan. I mean something.
Maybe some design parameter went wrong and then it went inside.
Okay.
Prabhu, this is Raktavara or Nilavara, the second
This
one?
is Shvetvara.
First one is Sweta.
This is the first one. We are talking about the first one.
But now Hiranyaksha one came, no?
No, Hiranyaksha is just a side comment. It's just a side comment. He just spoke about Hiranyaksha like in ecstasy. But the main discussion here is about Shvetavaraha who came during the Swayambhuva Manu time.
Okay. But that one is Rakta or Nila? I have
Who?
doubt. The Hiranyaksha.
Hiranyakashipu.
That one who fought with Hiranyaksha, that is Rakta.
Then there is no Nilavara.
There's no Neela.
Sometimes in picture you see blue color.
In ISKCON picture I have seen only red color Varaha. Hardly you see blue color. In Bhagavatam, I have not seen blue color Varaha. In Bhagavatam picture I have not seen. Then the Lord actually turned into blue color. If you see after some time, there is description that Lord actually turns into blue color.
Yeah, purple.
Okay, please read.
Vinod, okay. The appearance of the wonderful and the gigantic incarnation of Vishnu as the mountain-like boar did not fill them with any kind of fear. Although the Lord's resounding voice was tumultuous and echoed horribly in all directions as an open threat to all demons who might challenge his omnipotency.
The word Maya is very significant in this verse. Maya means mercy, specific knowledge, and also illusion. Therefore, Lord both is everything. He is merciful, He is all knowledge, and He is illusion also.
He is illusion to those who think that he is just an animal. He is merciful to devotees. He is all knowledge because he is the Lord of the sacrifice. Raha is the Lord of sacrifice. Okay.
The earth planet was submerged in the Maya, but on hearing the sound of the Lord, the inhabitants of the higher planets grew jubilant, because they knew that the Lord was there to deliver the earth. The most important is the Brihanaradiya Purana verse.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Yes.
So on the translation, say, they chanted auspicious chants from the 3 Vedas.
Yeah. Normally, Atharva Veda is not counted.
Okay. So
Normally, when we count Vedas, they always count Rikeju Sama.
Not other.
Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Rikeju Sama Yevacha. He doesn't say talk about Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda generally is more tantric in nature. Most of it is more tantric in nature.
Because it's mentioned auspicious.
Yeah. So, Atharva Veda contains a lot of black arts and tantric stuff, etc.
No, what you said, merciful to the devotees, all knowledge because he is the benefactor of Yajna.
No, he is the Lord of the Yajna. Varaha Dev is the Lord of Yajna. You will see in the prayers that he is the Lord of Yajna.
That's an illusion.
And it's illusion because foolish people think that he is just an animal.
The form of the Lord in any shape is always transcendental and full of knowledge and message. The Vedas are said to be a breath of the Lord, and that the breath was inhaled by the Brahma, an original student of the Vedas. The breathing from the nostril of Brahma caused the appear of the Lord bow, and therefore the bow incarnation of the Lord is personified Veda.
It's clear? Prabhupada gives explanation. The Vedas are the exhalation of the Lord, and that exhalation of the Vedas was inhaled by Brahma, and he got the Vedic knowledge. And from Brahma's exhalation, the Lord boar came out. So he is personified Vedic knowledge. Okay.
Whenever there is glories of the Lord, it is to be understood that Vedic mantra are being right vibrated. The Lord was therefore pleased when such a Vedic mantras were chanted.
Okay.
The Lord is described herein as Mahindra,
Mahidhara.
Mahindra, which means either a big mountain or the sustainer of the earth.
In Vishnu Sahasranamam is also is there. Mahidharo, Mahabaho, like that is there.
But since he has assumed the form of a boar, he began to search out the earth by smelling, just like a boar. The Lord was perfectly playing, the Lord can perfectly play the part of any living entity.
The word rasana is sometimes interpreted in
Rasayam.
Rasayam.
His name.
Rasayam.
He can only see his name.
The word rasayam is sometimes interpreted to mean rasatal, the lowest planetary system, but that is not applicable in this connection. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the earth is 7 times superior to the other planetary system, namely Tala, Atal, Talatal, Vital, Rasatal, Patal, etc. Therefore, the earth cannot be situated in the Rasatal planetary system.
So the earth was not found in the Rasatal planetary system, it was just found submerged in the ocean. Okay.
According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Vedic literatures describe the incarnation of Lord Varaha both in 2 different devastations, namely the Chakshusha devastation and the Swayambhuva devastation. This particular appearance of the boar incarnation actually took place in the Swayambhuva devastation, when all planets other than the higher ones, Jala, Mahar and Satya, merged in the water of devastation.
So now this is the explanation. They are actually merged in the water of devastation. So therefore he came to lift it.
But at first day of Brahma itself there is devastation.
He came, we studied this, no? When he got up, he saw that there was this lotus, there was water of devastation, and then there was this mighty air which was blowing, which was actually moving the lotus, and then there was navel of the Lord. So there are the five factors which he saw. So Brahma himself, then the water of devastation, the lotus, then the air and the navel of the Lord.
But the planets weren't there, no, that time. Later he created.
So he created the planets, but because the water of devastation, the planets were still submerged. It looks like the water of devastation, and then the Lord lifted it.
And also in the starting of this chapter it is mentioned, Swayambhuva and Satyarupa, Brahma has entrusted them to create their progenies on earth, not on other planets.
Yeah. Manushya.
Okay, they don't create demigods, other species, only Manushya.
Some of their, demigods are also created by some of their progenies, because the rishis, they get married and then they actually create demigods. So you find that there is some connection is there. Like the original 7 rishis, they all got married to the daughters of Kardama. So there is some connection between them and